All right, it's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. It is Monday, it is Friday, the Lashawan Qadash class where we get into our native tongue. We're going to start off this class like we start off every class with the Hebrew alphabets. Repeat after me. Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Cha, Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, P, Tza, Qua, Ra, Sh, and The. All right. We are going to get into our lesson for today. Today we will be going over the names of the 12 disciples, right? We will be going over the names of the 12 disciples, all right? So the first one that we are going to start with is Peter, all right? So if anybody knows anything about Peter, they actually put the name that Peter's name means uh, in the actual scriptures, because Christ said, uh, "Upon this rock I will build this church," right? Because Peter's name in Greek is Petros, right? Which is rock. Okay? Um, so his name in Hebrew is right. So his name in Hebrew is Abon, right? Because Abon translates to stone, right? So that is Peter's name in Hebrew. Peter's Greek name is Petros, which literally means stone or rock. In Hebrew, his name is Abon, right? So for those that are just learning Hebrew, remember the open parentheses under the open connector under means that you pronounce it exactly how it sounds when we went over the Hebrew alphabets. Remember, the first alphabet is Ah, right? So that's how you would pronounce this letter, right? Exactly how it sounds in the alphabet. Ah, okay? And then you have a buh and a nuh. So it's not but nuh, right? Because you have this closed connector right here that connects the buh and the nuh, right? So normally the I sound falls off of the last letter that is connected, right? So it is a bond, right? A bond, which means stone. All right. Into the next disciple. All right. Which is Andrew. Look something up real quick in my Strong's Concordance real fast. All right. Andrew's name in Hebrew is Batak, which means, hold on, let me, which means security. All right. Let's see who we have next one. All right. Next, we are going to do uh James, right? This should be a name that the Hebrew name should be a name that is very familiar to everyone. But before I get into it, same thing like previously. Remember what our connectors are for, right? So the same thing, right? So we had the open connector. So when you saw that under the ba, right? You literally pronounce it exactly how it sounds. Ba, as the alphabet sounds, right? Then you have a ta and a ha, right? So it's not but to ha, right? It's batak, batak, right? Because the ta and the ha is connected, right? So it's just batak, batak. All right. Okay. So next we're gonna do James. All right. James is also the yeah. This is a name that everybody should know. Everybody. This is a name that you're gonna see over and over in the Bible. This name is a famous name, just like a common name in the Bible, just like Brandon or Brittany is today. Like it's just a common name. The name that I'm about to do um, was just an extremely common name in times past. I am missing something. Here we go. All right. All right. So James' name in Hebrew is YAHANNA, right? Why should everybody know who YAHANNA is, because YAHANNA is Jacob. All right. And what does Jacob's name mean? Jacob's main name means supplanter. All right, let me check the chat. I see some comments. Oh, it's just brothers and sisters checking in. Most High in Christ, Most High in Christ. All right, we're going to go on to the next disciple, which is Philip. All right. So Philip's name in Hebrew is Parash. Make sure you do that correctly. Parash, right? Because he was a lover of horses. His name means horseman. Horseman. Right? Parash. All right. So these are the first four. All right. I'll give you some time to make sure you have them written down. I know I've been kind of blocking the screen while people are either taking screenshots or writing what's online. I'm just going to do a quick review. So the four of the first 12, all right, Peter or Petros in the Greek. His name is Abon, right, which means stone. Like I said, remember, just like Christ, that's why Christ said he used it as an analogy. Upon this rock, upon this rock will I build my church. It was an analogy because he was talking about Peter, because when Christ left, he left Peter to be the head of the school, the head of the priesthood, right? Okay. Next, you have Andrew, right? Andrew's name in Hebrew is Tak, but Tak, right? And remember, these connectors are here for a reason, right? Now, because a lot of people ask me questions about the connectors, right? The thing that you have to understand about the connectors a guide. When you look up any Paleo Phoenician uh, scroll from that period, um, uh, prior to the Assyrian captivity, you're not going to see any connectors, right? This is something that we added here to help you pronounce and enunciate the words, right? These are simply a guide, right? So James, right, is Yahakwab, which is Jacob in the Hebrew. which means supplanter. And then the last of the first four is Philip, right? Philip, which is Parash, right? Which means horseman, right? Okay, so go ahead and screenshot this. I'm going to erase it and move on to the next four. All right. That's not good. Boom. All right, let's see who's next. Right. Bartholomew. All right. Bartholomew. And what's crazy is this is still somewhat in Hebrew form, and I'm going to break it down, okay? Give myself some room. All right. Okay, so Bartholomew, right? So this word is still in somewhat Hebrew form. All right. So bar, right? Uh so in Hebrew it's bar thal mod, right? Bar thal mod, right? So bar, right? I'm just gonna write the meaning up under here, right? So bar is another way of saying son in Hebrew. I know stereotypically, you guys are used to seeing bon, right? But bar is also another way of saying son, right? Okay, so and Ptolemy is Ptolemy, right? So Bartholomew literally means son of Ptolemy, right? So that'd be like your way of saying like junior, right? You know, so like, my firstborn son to be Bartazadot, right? Son of justice, right? Okay. So bar is another word for son. Okay. So it is Bartholomew, right? Bartholomew, right? Okay, we're gonna go on to the next one. Who we got next? Oh, and this next name that we gonna about to do, this is how you know, and especially in today's time, because this person's name is what all the YNs call each other. All right. So the next disciple we're going to do is Thomas, right? Doubting Thomas. Doubting Thomas, right? All right. Okay. So Thomas, all right. Thomas, whose name in Hebrew is the not the ma, but the right? And his name, which is hilarious, lets you know this is our people. His name is Twin. You know what I'm saying? You know how do I? What up, Twin? What's good, Twin? Hey, Twin. Even in my time, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you was a actual twin, that's what the nickname of the twins would be. What up, Twin? What's going down, Twin? You know what I'm saying? So Thomas' name is literally twin because he's a twin, right? Right. But it's crazy. I mean, that's our lingo. No other people in the world calls twins twin. Like, what up, twin? What's going on, twin? We the only people that call twins twin as like a nickname. You know what I'm saying? It's how you know it's our people. You feel me? All right. So we gonna move on to the next disciple. All right. Which is Matthew. Matthew. All right. So now we have Matthew, right? Which is Mathawa, right? Mathawa, right? Which literally translates to uh gift of the Most High. All right. Then the next disciple is James. So there were two James. So you had James, which was the brother of Christ, right? And then there was another James, right? Which you already have that one. We just did that one. That was quad, right? So the next four, right? So we have Bartholomew, right? You have a new Hebrew word for son that you learned today, which is bar. Bartholomew in Hebrew is Bartholome, which is son of Ptolemy, right? Thomas, you know what I'm saying? Twin, as the YN say, what up, twin? What's going on, twin? You feel me? And then you have Matthew, Mathua, right, which is gift of the Most High. And then you have James, all right, the brother of well, you know what? I can do because you know you had James Zebedee, so you had James, which was just the brother of Christ, and then you had James Zebedee, right? So you already know his first name, Zebedee, right? I mean his first name James is Yaquab, and then you had Zebedee, right? Which is let's see. All right. And then you have uh Zebedee, which was his family name. In Hebrew, it's Zabadai, right? And this gives you, you know, what tribe that James is from. James was a Benjamite because Zabadai was a Benjamite, son of Shemaiah. Uh, in the Old Testament, right? So this is a great family name, James Zebedee, right? So James was a Benjamite, right? The only reason why we know that is because we know what his family name is, Zebedee, right? Which means endowment. Yeah, I didn't write the meaning. right? And to give you the Strong's Concordance number for his, so you can look up and see that James of Zebedee was a Benjamite. Strong's Concordance number to look up his family pedigree is H2067, right? H2067, right? So I didn't rewrite James because we already did that one already. So that's Yaquab Zebediah, right? James of Zebedee is Yaquab. I guess I'll write that and read it. Right? Yaquab Zebediah, right? Which is uh uh the supplanter endowment, right? Which is James, son of Zebedee, right? He's from the house of Zebedee, right? Which is a Benjamite family from the Benjamite nation, right? So go ahead and copy these down before I erase them, screenshot them, right? These is your next four, right? So we have Bartholomew, Bartholomew, which is son of Ptolemy, right? You have Thomas, which is the which is twin. What up, twin? All right. Matthew, which is Matthewa, right? Which is gift of the Most High. And you have James of Zebedee, which is Jaquab, Zebediah, which is a Benjamite family. And Zebediah means endowment. We already went over what James is with the first four, which is Jaquab, which means supplanter. So make sure you have this down for this four, and then I'm gonna go ahead and erase it. I think I got time to do maybe two more. All right, the next one we're gonna do is John. This is another one that everyone should know. All right. It's another one that everyone should know. All right. John's name in Hebrew is YAHANNA, right? YAHANNA, like commanding general YAHANNA, right? Uh, and YAHANNA means the Most High is gracious, All right. John's name in Hebrew is YAHANNA, right? YAHANNA, right? So commanding General YAHANNA's name is John in Hebrew, which means the Most High is gracious, right? All right. The next one we're going to do is Simon, which was also Peter's original name before he was given his new creation name, which was Peter. All right. So Simon in Hebrew is Shemayawan, right? Shemayawan, right? Which means to hear or hearing. All right. Because the root word in there is Shemai, means to hear or listen, right? Okay. See what time we got. 58. Okay. All right. We'll do the next one because the next person has two names. Also a famous person in the Bible. A name that's famous in the Bible. It's crazy because the person that this name is famous for two reasons: a good reason and a bad reason, right? Let's make sure I ain't have no questions. Nope, no questions. All right. All right. So the next one that we're going to do is Judas. And this name everyone should know in the Hebrew. All right. So Judas' name in Hebrew is a name that everyone should know. It's Yahweh, right? If you don't know what Yahweh is in Hebrew, it is Judah. All right. So the Greek word for Judah is Judas, which is crazy. Which means thank the Most High, which is crazy, right? So you have actually three people famous with his name. Of course, you know, the original Judah, which is the head of the line of Judah, right? Then you have Judas Maccabeus, right? Which, because of his great things that he has done, reason why we have the Feast of Dedication, right? Then you have another Judas, right? Who is infamous and famous for betraying Christ, and his name is Iscariot, Judas Iscariot, right? So let's do that part of his name. All right. Let me look up the coordinates number for it real quick. Salakia. All right. So Iscariot is Ayash or Yawath, right? Which translates to man of Kirioth, right? Kirioth is a city, um, a town in the southern district of Judah, right? And before it was a town of Judah, it used to be a town of Moab. The original town was a town of Moab. Then it was taken over by Judah, you know, when we had the kingdom, right? Okay. So Judah, right? So Judas Iscariot is Judah, man of Kirioth, right? So it is so Yahawada Ayash Quariyath, right? So Judas Iscariot is Yahawada Ayash Quariyath, Quariyath, right? Which means Judah, man of Kirioth, right? And Judah means thank the Most High, right? So Judas Iscariot was Judah, and he was from a town called Kirioth. You understand? You know, so it'll be no difference from Tazadok of Tejas. You know what I'm saying? Which is Tazadok from Texas. You feel me? Or Tazadok H Town, Tazadok Houston, right? You know, because it's probably, you know, because it's so many. You got to understand during this time, Judah is just like Brandon. You know what I'm saying? And in the clique, you know, a whole bunch of Brandons. You know what I'm saying? So you got Brandon D Time, which is Brandon from Dallas. You have Brandon Boot. You know what I'm saying? Brandon from Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Brandon MIA, you know what I'm saying? There's Brandon from Florida, he from Miami, you understand? Or Brandon Cal, you know what I'm saying? Because Brandon from Cali, right? That's how it was with the name Yahawda. Like it's so many Yahawdas, just like it's so many Gabawars in school. It's so many Yapas in the school. Jesus, it's so many Yapas. It's just so many Yapas. Um, uh, you know, it's a whole bunch of what's another name they got in there? It's a whole bunch of Gabars in the school, right? So it's a whole bunch of Gabars, right? So you got to put Gabar from such city, right? So the same thing with Yahawada. With so many Yahawadas, they just called them Yahawada Ayash Quariwath. You know what I'm saying? They probably called him Quariwath for short. You know what I'm saying? Instead of calling him Judas. You know what I'm saying? So because that's where he from. You feel me? So quick review. We got and I'll do the last of them next class, right? So we have John, which is YAHANNA in Hebrew, which means the Most High is gracious. Gracious. We have Simon, right, which is Shemayawan, right, which means to hear or hearing. Root word of Shemayawan is Shemai, which means to listen or hear, right? You have Judas, which is the Greek version of saying Judah, which is Yahawada, which means thank the Most High, thank Yahweh, right? Then it was Judas Iscariot, right, which was Ayash Quar Yawath, right, which means man of Kirioth, because that's where Judas was from. So it was Yahawada Ayash Quar Yawath, which is Judah, man of Kirioth, right? So we're going to pause here. We'll finish up the rest next class. All right. We're gonna do a courtesy salute to the brothers, right? Which is Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shabarak Thumb, and to the sisters, It is Shalom Yahweh Shamar Elathan Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and we are gone.